Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Todd Clint's SharePoint podcast number 366, recorded live Monday, November 27th, 2017. I am your host and a victim of much gluttony in the last 4 days, Todd Clint, and my very festive partner next door there, Shane. Tell him about yourself.
I'm the guy that's got Christmas decorations now, right? But I guess they're not Christmas decorations because that's not PC, so they are holiday wear. They can. Yeah, and so that guy, he's got a Bengals scarf on, and then that's just Rudolph, who makes a lot of noise. Oh, can I reach him? See that? Look at that. But I don't know, I always like to switch up the videos, so I got some new background content.
I appreciate that because for the last year and a half, I've had a blank wall behind me, and so I refuse to do any of that. So sometime I have to decide. So in the old house, I had a drop ceiling, so I could hang stuff from the ceiling. And that's how I hung the curtain and all that kind of stuff. This new house has drywalled ceilings, drywalled walls, and so I just don't know what I want to destroy in order to decorate for the podcast.
I've been really happy with the fathead stuff. And it's actually, because of Cyber Monday, it's 40% off today. So you can figure out what you want right now.
I can't. No.
But it works pretty good. It comes on and off, but just an easy way to throw some decorations back there without putting holes in your wall.
That's a good idea. I will check that out. Production notes. I think we're all cut up. I have not published the blog post for last week's, but it's all done. I just need to hit the publish thing for that. So I'm almost caught up, but again, I'll be behind in 26 minutes. And I'm going to be out of town Tuesday through Thursday, so I'll really be behind. So that'll be great.
You got a long plane ride. Just take it with you, produce it on the plane.
I've thought about that. So I've been refactoring all of my PowerShell scripts the last month or two, and I think I could do this thing not on this machine with every path being exactly hard-coded the way it was 9 years ago when I first started this. So that's possible. I should try that.
Yeah, all caught up. The only downside is this is 366, and man, we really had hoped to be on the new show platform by 366, maybe 466.
Yes, there we go. So that reminds me, we did talk to somebody last week that's thinking about doing the cover art, but if anybody else is interested, nothing's set in stone. So we've kind of got an idea what we want the new cover art for the podcast to look like. And so if you want to be helpful with that, let us know. You can email me, todd@toddclint.com. You can hit Shane up at whatever email address he's given out to the kids these days. I've got like 17 for you. I never know which one to use. At Todd Clint on Twitter, at Shane Skiles on Twitter, and let us know, and we'll send you our design spec. You can laugh at it and tell us how horrible it is and all that.
Hey, the last mock-up that you did, I was proud of you. That was more artistic than I thought you ever would have produced. So good job.
That might be the most artistic thing I've ever done. Yeah. So we'd like to get. Well, yeah, we need to get going on. I think the cover art's kind of the thing we're sticking on now. So you got to leave in 24 short but precious minutes. So we need to move on to the topics at hand. The first thing that I wanted to mention, and last week was right after Patch Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month. Much celebrated in the Clint household. I can only assume that households worldwide get very excited about the second Tuesday of each month, getting those Microsoft patches. But this month's patches, November 2017, for SharePoint 2016 added some really cool things. And since I started tracking the SharePoint 2016 patches, a year and a half ago, I've not made individual pages for each patch, partially because it's a gigantic pain in the butt to do, but also because the patches didn't have anything wrong with them. Like there was just that much less to do. So I kind of talked myself out of doing that. But there was a few things. There have been 5 or 6 regressions now that I've needed to do. So I finally broke down last week and started creating those. And so you'll be able to tell when you go to toddclint.com/SP2016 builds. For the pages that don't have individual patches, the patch page link goes to that page, so it'll show up as a clicked link. For the ones that I've added pages, you'll be able to tell now because they are not been clicked yet.
It's kind of a sad time, right? Because, in the beginning, I remember when you were justifying, hasn't been anything broken. There's no reason to make those patch pages. And finally, 2016, it was on a good run, but it finally kind of, it was warranted now. So
yeah, and I'll be honest, the regressions were few and far between, and really small stuff. A couple of them were but nothing compared to what we've had in 2010 and 2013. But the thing that really pushed me over was not the bad things that the patches had that I wanted to document in the page. It was the good things. It was the stuff they were adding. Feature Pack 2 coming out and all those kind of things. Those are the milestones that I wanted to start celebrating. So I need to create a few more of those pages because there are a few more of those patches that have, important things on them. I'm also trying to build things in the back with RSS or with XML files. And so I'm probably going to have a regressions XML file that has a regression name, when it was introduced, when it was fixed, and then start building that up in the background so I can make those pages easier to maintain. So if you have any feedback on those pages, things that you wish they had, things you wish they didn't have, formatting that sucks, something like that, shoot me an email because it's all very much in flux right now, and let me know how better to do that.
Mr. Positivity, wanted to make him because you wanted to talk about all the cool things. You've grown so much in 366 episodes.
I have. And that reminds me, so I don't have it in the notes, but I stumbled across something today. I thought I put it in the notes, but I don't see it in here. No. So I was reading a blog post that came out last week from Andrew J. Billings, if that is his real name. And he talked about a change that came to the... Oh, don't tell me. I know this one. The October 2017 patches for SharePoint 2013 and 2016. But what it does, and this is a notable thing, because as part of the upgrade process, it removes anybody who's in the DBO group for databases.
Wow.
The DB owner. Yeah, so they put it in there as a security thing, which I get. I understand why they do that. The bad news is there's a bunch of third-party things, and particularly this guy found it because of DocAv. For DocAv to do the things that it needs to be a DB owner for that database. And every time you patch it, it pulls that out. You got to go back in and add it for everyone. So they've got a registry key that you can change to fix some of this and have it not do that. But that's just another one of those things that I need to. That's a good thing. It's a security thing, but I need to document it so people can figure that out.
Oh, that goes on my list of terrible, terrible, terrible ideas. Yeah, you just can't go and change the security underneath. Even if the person was doing it wrong, maybe flag it, create a health rule that says, "Hey, dummy, you got DBO users," but you can't change that. That's big F. That's like the old loopback. That's you get an F, Microsoft, for that one.
You don't approve of that? Is that what I'm saying? Is that what I'm hearing?
I can't even bring myself to begin to justify it, right? I mean, I get it. It was a bad thing for people to do DBO, but
yeah. How
many bad consultants are there in the world that have done those things? How many people's farms just aren't going to work in the morning because you put on this patch?
Yeah, and the bad news is that some of that stuff is going to sneak out when people don't, it's going to create a problem that they're not going to recognize immediately. So they're going to put a patch on, everything's going to look fine. A week later, something's broken, they don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and especially or even people who do the difference between dev and test and prod, right? I mean, so things like DBO on databases might be different in dev versus prod for whatever reasons, good or bad, and shenanigans. Oh, terrible. I don't like it.
Yep.
Good catch.
Yep. So that one, and I thought there was something else. Yeah. So, but that's the kind of things that I want to get back in there. So look for some upgrades on those pages and some improvements I'm going to make on those. So I apologize for getting lazy on those. And if you're ever watching, when Patch Tuesday comes out, I track SharePoint 2010 patches, SharePoint 2013 patches, SharePoint 2016 patches. 2010 usually happens pretty quickly because I can just copy and paste the links in there after I test them, and there's no individual pages. 2016 comes pretty quickly because it's just an XML file, so I can just patch stuff in. I've got some PowerShell I can run to add entries, so those come. The 2013 pages are always last because I have to update that table, that the blog post with a table. I got to create all those pages. There's just so much work. I'm like, So this is I'm trying to make that process better.
Yeah, and these are the type of things, right, behind the scenes stuff. Todd and I talk about all the time, how to fix them, how to make them better. And unfortunately, right, the problem really boils down to the fact that Todd's blog is still on SharePoint 1994 or something like that.
STS1. Yeah, that's I just never saw a reason to upgrade it.
Yeah, and so, we keep trying to get him off of there, but none of the upgrade paths are going to work for his blog. So we really need to get him off of SharePoint and onto WordPress, but that's never going to work. These are the conversations that him and I have, and there's no answer that doesn't suck completely, so we do nothing. Or he does
Yeah,
nothing. I just make fun of him.
when all else fails, I just do nothing. So I haven't tried to fight it with much vigor in a couple of years. So what I need to do is I need to get my SharePoint 2010 farm to the latest 2010 patch. I need to get a 2013 farm to the latest 2013 patch, and then try to upgrade it again and see if they fix the problems. Specifically, if anybody's listening, specifically the problem that's stopping all of this is SharePoint 2010 is very understanding about blog comments being anonymous and not having an owner. SharePoint 2013 loses its freaking mind when blog posts don't have an owner to their comments and just blows up, throws its hands up, stomps out of the room, slams the door behind it, and refuses to upgrade my databases. So with that limitation, I've had to look at something like ShareGate, which works, but it's an incredibly manual process because I've got like 800 blog posts and tens or hundreds of thousands of comments. And when I bring it over with ShareGate, I've deleted blog posts along the years, so it can't just go through and grab one, create one, grab one, create one, because then the IDs don't match. So there's a bunch of work there. Or maybe I bring it over and I just nix the comments. I don't want to lose those, though. So there's just a bunch of bad options.
The other problem we have is URLs, right? If the URL changes in the slightest, we're going to destroy his SEO ranking, and then what's the point of having his blog if the SEO goes back to zero? Because you'll never rebuild it. So
no. Yep. So that's the issue. But again, I need to fully patch the 2010 farm, fully patch 2013 farm, and then just try it one more time and see if I can get it to work. So enough of that. My sad tale of upgrade woes.
Yeah. What about B? Nothing for B?
So I did not do that. So I have a blog post, and I'm going to tease you with it now, folks. Something that I encountered here a couple of weeks ago at a customer. I was installing SharePoint 2010. They were a fairly secure customer. VPN issues, it's hysterical. We'll talk about that sometime. But got SharePoint 2016 installed, went to download the latest patch, and I went to my favorite patch page, toddclint.com/SP2016builds, grabbed and clicked the link, got to the page. Because of security settings, I couldn't download the patch. And so I went in, internet, whatever the enhanced security mode. I shut that off. I did this, that, and the other. I could not convince Internet Explorer to download that patch for love or for money. I wasn't going to install Chrome or anything like that in their production servers. So I had to go through this ugly thing of using PowerShell and developer mode on a web browser to get the URL to the actual patch. And I wish that I had written something that would just let me download that patch. But it was a one-off thing, so I didn't do it. And then last week, Jason Himmelstein was suffering from a similar issue. And he's like, hey, do you have some PowerShell that I can just give that URL to and it'll download the patch? I'm like, no, but give me 10 minutes and I will write it. And so I've got that done and dusted. I just need to write the blog post. And I've been Jeff Hicks, who's not in the chat room today. Hopefully he's not overeating his turkey or mashed potatoes and all that. But he's been a good influence on me. I wrote it as a function inside of a module, so you guys will be able to just drop that in, and then you'll be able to give it the link to the patch, and it'll download the patch for you.
Now, we should have code signed it too, right? I think we can code sign it.
We can. I'm not against that. The reason that I didn't is because I don't expect anybody to just use that module as it is. I expect them to add it to something that they've already got. But I had to make it as a module so it would work. That was my thinking.
I just thought it'd be something fun to do, because we're nerds and have nothing else to do.
Yeah. So that will, again, I got that done. I'll be honest, the reason that I didn't publish it was because I didn't get the blog post one done, and I want to get the blog post one done and then put this one on top of it. So this one was the newest one. So that's what, so Dave Aykroyd in the chat room is saying, do you want to put the module on GitHub? I don't have it out there now. I probably could put it out there. I've not used GitHub because I'm not paying for GitHub, and so I don't have the private public thing. Everything's public, and I don't know.
Yeah, Dave, Todd and I looked at GitHub for some stuff him and I were sharing, and we're just too cheap to pay for it. It's what it boils down to. So we share a OneNote file instead and some OneDrive files, and that's how we pass the stuff back and forth.
That's how we do it. So while I was busy with that today, you were doing some cool stuff of your own. Why don't you tell the kids about that?
Yeah. So this morning I woke up, I was putting up my holiday decorations, and I was just generally in a good mood. I don't know why. I'm not usually in a good mood on Monday mornings, but I was. And one of my YouTube viewer comments said, Young, do this thing. And he laid out a problem. I was like, Oh, but what they wanted to do is they wanted to be able to export a SharePoint list out to an Excel file using PowerShell.
Okay.
And I was like, I can do that. And better yet, I've made all the content of how to do that. I've made all the pieces. You just need to assemble these 3 videos I've made and you'd be able to do it. So unfortunately, I sat down and I made the video for the guy. And the reason I say unfortunately was, I'm old and crabby.
You are.
But he was very like, do this, right? I'm guessing English was his 3rd or 4th language. But, I was like, if you'd put a please in there or a thank you, that's all I wanted. But no, I went ahead and made the video, and I'm rewarding this guy for not saying please and thank you. So I'm kind of upset with myself for it. But the good news is, if you guys want the video, it's like a 10-minute video on how to do it. And there's no new content there. It's just taking existing things I've taught before and kind of packaging into one little video.
Yeah. So I assume he knew about the whole export to Excel thing that's in the UI, but he wanted to do a bunch of them and didn't want to mess with that.
I assume. I got like 37 characters in the guy. He
do this now.
Yeah, young, right? I couldn't even figure out my name was Shane. I was like, so I don't know. I don't know why I did it because I was really annoyed by his whole comment. But I think it was just the fact that it literally took me like 5 minutes to write out the script for the video. That I was like, this is an easy win. And I was real positive on the YouTube video. I was like, oh, I did this for a viewer. Yay. Thinking,
well, I'm sure in his own, quiet, subdued way, he appreciates it.
Well, even worse yet, the person wasn't a subscriber. I'm like, so I put in the comments, I was like, hey, if you subscribe, you'll get notified when I put this video out. Hint, hint, hint. Not that I really care, but
you care. Oh, you care. You care. We don't have to go back, however many blog posts to every time you would update me to how many subscribers you have. And, you care. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that's outpacing my subscriber count these days is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is tearing it up. But other than that, I am on the verge of 7,000. Bitcoin's on the verge of 10,000.
Yeah.
And I've stopped giving you the updates. I'm making so many of these dollar bills these days, I can't even tell you the number anymore. I'll start having, the IRS showing up on my doorstep.
Yeah, the numbers are just so massive that the whole taking it and dividing it by 30 is just,
Dividing by 28, let's be clear.
Go check Shane's video out. And so probably what has happened already is YouTube, so Shane just uploaded this video. YouTube's algorithms have probably found it and flagged it as not appropriate for all advertisers. And so by going out and giving Shane more views, it bubbles it up in the list of videos that YouTube will look at and say, oh, yeah, I guess this is okay for all advertisers. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, so yeah, you've heard Todd and I complain about this a little off and on. And this last time it happened to Todd, so one of the videos, I don't know, Todd got flagged.
It's these. It's the live version of these.
And so Todd was a little fired up about it one morning. So I went and did some more homework because you never want to have a conversation with Todd when you only kind of know something. I got to go get my encyclopedic knowledge of the topic so I can answer Todd's questions and not get yelled at. So I went and studied the adpocalypse. So there's actually a name, a YouTube hashtag for it and everything. And I mean, what it boils down to is YouTube is having a really bad time with... Right, they're an advertising platform. They don't care about videos. They care about being able to sell ads to advertisers. And I care about them doing that because I get my big money too.
Oh, $7 a month.
Yeah, or $7 a day.
Oh.
But anyway, I broke 200 for 28 days the other day. But no, never mind. Not important. But so YouTube has been having problems. So a bunch of advertisers pulled back about a year ago. So then YouTube had to go in and put in a new system. That's where we started getting these flagged videos and not. And so that's really a lot of the high-end earners. So it hasn't affected, this low-end like us.
Yeah.
Those high-end guys, they saw their ad revenues cut in half. And the reason is it turns out, P&G doesn't want to advertise toilet paper next to a video of, 2 kids jumping off a roof and hurting themselves. Or talking about, bad things happening in the world, violence, hate speech, that type of stuff. Yeah. Which those are some of the most popular YouTube videos. YouTube's a dirty place.
The internet as a whole is a horrible, scary place.
It really is. So YouTube kind of overreacted. So now they got this whole machine learning thing to flag videos, whether they're good or bad, which is never accurate, it turns out. Then just today or this weekend, I don't remember when it was, but they just got busted again. Apparently, a bunch of the children's videos had inappropriate comments. And worse yet, these children videos had inappropriate comments tagged to them. They had been flagged as inappropriate, and YouTube hadn't been bothered to come by and sweep those out. And so there's a whole list of new advertisers that are dropping from the platform. I might go from $7 to $6. I mean, this could be a tragedy in the young household. Christmas is right upon us, people. So I don't know.
Think of the children.
Real. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
And so Shane and I are very small fish in the whole YouTube thing. And this first hit Shane here a couple of months ago, and he uploaded an innocuous video on PowerShell. It got flagged from being inappropriate from all the good advertisers, which is the good money for Shane. And the only way he could get them to review the video was if he got 1,000 views in 7 days. Two problems with that. Number one, for our kind of videos, getting 1,000 views in 7 days is tough. Number two, those 1,000 views are going to be 1,000 views with the lower paying advertisers. And so that's very frustrating. I've started to get in a couple. So it started out just being the live version of this, which I hide immediately when we're done. But then I think last week or the week before, it was the edited version. And I'm like, son of a gun. So yeah, there's some stuff going on. So if you see Shane begging, soliciting for clicks, it's not just to feed his already enormous ego. It is a legitimate thing with YouTube that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, the other interesting phenomenon there, right? So if I get on these kicks from like, hey, I got to get my 1,000 views in 7 days, which so far I have not actually had to achieve. Once I get a little bit of momentum, they seem to filter up the list. But views stop counting. So like right now, like my video, the one I just launched is not flagged. So I can go in and click on it myself. It'll go up by view. If I go edit it, it'll go up. If I open my phone, it'll go up. But if a video gets flagged and I start talking about it, like tweeting it on social media and saying, hey, I need help, they figure that out too. And they stop counting views. People will be like, hey, I watched your video. I'm like, no, you didn't. And they're like, and I can see the likes go up. So I know they opened it up. I know they clicked the like button, and my view count still doesn't change because YouTube starts blocking it. Like they're trying to stop me from getting to 1,000. It's so.
Yeah, and Shane and I, when his first video, we had this, and so I've got 100 different machines. I can come from 6 or 7 different IP addresses. So I was trying everything I could to get him his views, and I absolutely found that myself. I would log in incognito mode. I would VPN and come out of Vienna or something, and views just quit counting. So yeah, they're having some problems. So we got 5 minutes left. Let's pick one topic out of the list and then save ourselves some time for promotion.
Let's go with E. That seems like an exciting one for the world that we're kind of sort of breaking. It's only a couple hours old.
All right. So why don't you take that one? I haven't read it yet.
So quietly today, it turns out that Microsoft Office was released in the Google Play Store. So finally now on the Chromebooks, most specifically, you can now run Microsoft Office. It's just interesting, I think, because A, it was overdue, right? But B, it's also interesting because neither Microsoft nor Google has any intention of talking about it. It's like it just happened. It's sliding out there. Turns out there's a bunch of caveats with it. I guess screen size of your Android device determines what type of licensing it uses as well.
That's insane.
Yeah, apparently if you're over a 10.1 inch screen, so a Chromebook, then you have to have a Office 365 license to use it. If you're under 10.1, then I think it just works.
Yeah. So that's a remnant from the old 7, 8 inch tablets that Microsoft put out that had Windows on them. And so if you had a 7 or 8 inch tablet, you got Office for free. If you had a bigger one, it cost more.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting, right? The question becomes, does this make Chromebooks more viable for the enterprise? Because now you can use a word processor and a Office set that isn't terrible, right? I'm looking at you, Google Docs. You are still complete trash.
Yeah. And let's be clear, this is only new for Chromebooks. So on your regular Android devices, I've had Office on my Android devices forever. They showed up in the store, but the store for Chromebooks and Android devices is separate. And so this is a Chromebook only thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting. I mean, I'm guessing we'll never hear about it since they don't want to talk about it. But it sounds like a classic win-win, right? Office gets to continue to control its dominance, and the Chromebooks get a little more credibility because now you can run a real productivity app on them.
Yep, I'm in favor. I've got a couple Chromebooks floating around the house. I'll have to check it out.
Get your ruler out, see if they're 10.1 or 10.2.
I think they are. I think they're like 10 and 11 inch ones, but that's okay. We got Office 365 licenses. We're good to go. All right, so 3 minutes, shameless self-promotion. First thing I want to mention, it is towards the end of November, which means the month after that is December, which means then there's Julianuary, if you're a Madagascar fan, and then January, my birthday. And so we'll start doing the charity drive again for my birthday. We'll get a page set up and all that, but start thinking about that. What charities you want to, And again, for those who haven't done it before, this is basically just me encouraging people to donate to their own charities. So I'm not going to ask you to give me money, though if you'd like to, by all means, you can. I'm not even asking you to give charities that I care about money. Don't do that. What we're just trying to do is remind people that charitable giving is good. A lot of people out there hurting, and so we're asking if you donate money from now until my birthday-ish, you let us know. We're going to tally it all up, and then we can all pat each other on the back and clap for each other and all that. It's a good thing. So Lori has, in the time 10 seconds ago from when I said we were going to set a page up until now, she's already set the page up.
That a girl.
You can go to pointgowan.com/TK charity. So that is point and then Lori's last name, GOWIN/TK charity. We've been doing this forever, 7-8 years, something like that. And it's been great. The number's gone up every year. We're getting to the point now where I don't know if we're going to keep going up. I think last year we gave oodles and noodles. So that's coming up. Let's do that. More shameless self-promotion. Shane, take it away. You got a couple things going on.
Yeah, next Tuesday, I'll be speaking at the Southern Cal PowerShell user group. I'll be talking to them about SharePoint Online PowerShell and all the fun that it can have. So looking forward to that. I've done that talk a couple of times now for some different PowerShell groups, and it seems well received. Either that or PowerShell people are really polite.
That is not the case. Knowing some PowerShell people like Jeff, and no, that's not the case at all.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be next Tuesday. I don't think it's available for remote viewing, but the good news is I've got a YouTube video with the same exact content. So what do you do? Yeah,
and that's a double-edged thing. You and I each do this talk 3 or 4 times a year. So you're like, it's same crap, but it is constantly changing. Every single time I deliver this, I have to update my slides and add new great things. So, yeah.
Well, I always enjoy just the conversations that get driven around it, right? That's why I go to user groups, is to get those random. They're like, "Can you do blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "Sure." And right, that's really where the fun is and where the learning takes place. It's just different than the YouTube videos where it's just watching me talking in front of reindeers and snowmen for 15 minutes or so.
Yep. And you get to find out what people are actually doing, because you and I have a very limited focus on what we do with SharePoint and Office 365 and PowerShell. So it's good to hear what other people do.
Yeah.
And then 6 months from now, May 21st through 23rd, less than 6 months now, you and I are going to be at the big, spectacular SharePoint NA conference at SharePointNA.com. And we will be doing a couple of things. For sure, we'll be doing on Thursday a post-con session on SharePoint and Office 365 administration. And it will cover upgrade and PowerShell and all the fun things that we really love to do. And I'm sure at some point we'll also be doing some breakout sessions during the week. I don't know what that'll all be. So again, you can find out all about it at SharePointNA.com. And if you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and sign up. And if you use the referral code Clint, if you use the referral code Clint, you get $50 off, and you get to have your picture taken with me at the conference. So that's
all I'm saying is good luck spelling Clint, whereas Young, Y-O-U-N-G, you learned to spell in the first grade. So
I think you're underestimating the intelligence of our fans. And frankly, if I was one of our fans, I would be offended by that, and I would never use your referral code.
That doesn't change the fact if they type it CLINT. What do they get? Nothing. They type in KLIUGABC123. Nothing. YOUNG, $50 off.
Yep. So I think you guys will do the right thing. But we'll be out there. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. We'll have a get together for all the hooligans. We'll make a big deal out of it. So hopefully you see you out there in May. Shane, speaking of seeing you got to go, man. You got places to be.
Yeah, coach some basketball.
Go coach you some basketball. So we will see you all next week. Thanks, everybody. Chat room, I'll stick around for a few minutes. We can talk bad things about Shane. And have a good day.
See ya.